Hi, everyone. This is Charlene, and thank you so much for joining me today. Um, I value your time, and I just thank you so much for your interest in seeing how you can find some legal solutions that are affordable for your family. And I hope that after we're done with this presentation, that you have a better understanding of the value that this type of solution can bring to your family. And without taking any more time, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. And bear with me because I am new to this technology. So hopefully you'll be able to see my screen in just a moment. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is empowering your family the way that over 4 million Legal Shield members are empowered right now, today. But first, just a little bit about me in case you're wondering. I know I've connected with a lot of you on the different Facebook groups. So many great groups, and I have chatted with so many of you. So anyway, a little bit about me. My hometown is Huntington Beach, which is in the infamous state of California. And back in the day, in the mid-'80s, I was a nursing major, very involved. Represented my class, was one of the top students, was just so excited about everything I was learning. And then after a year and my pathophys class, I decided to take a break and got married, and I never returned. And eventually I became the mother of these 6 beautiful children. And 2 of my sons are married, and you're looking at the bottom of the offspring of my son's family, his marriage. That's little Cozy on the left and her twin Jedediah on the right. And they're about 5 months now, and oh my goodness, being a grandmother is the most wonderful gift. Okay, I began investigating vaccines for over about 20 years ago. It started when I hosted an in-home documentary with just a few of the mothers, about 20 different moms from my community. I knew nothing about Vera Scheibner, but I'm so thankful to her because that was my introduction to a different view of vaccines. And interestingly enough, I saw a specialist for 2 of my children who had sensory processing disorders. When I spoke with the specialist about one of my sons, she said she had never seen anyone as severe as him. He literally was like Gumby. He was so hypotonic, he could not even stand on one foot, and he was 7 or 8 years old when I started seeing the specialist. So I saw a lot of the different symptoms with my children, but it took me until I read the Simpsonwood transcripts 10 years ago. And some of you may have heard that referred to as the Verstraeten study or the vaccine safety data link, but it's the transcripts of a CDC meeting. And when I read that, a 300-page report, verbatim, who said what, that's when I connected the vaccine injury dots. And I knew that the symptoms that I had been seeing in my children were caused by the vaccines. It was heartbreaking. And I can understand how today, when people have vaccines, it's really hard to break through and get them to see what we see. But slowly but surely, I think one of the greatest gifts to all of us this past year has been the release of the documentary Vaxxed, because that is doing for us what we could not communicate to our loved ones and friends ourselves. And today I'm advocating for our rights through this service. This is one way that I advocate for our rights and for our freedoms. Okay, and now we all know in California that on July 1st, 2016, just this month, SB 277 became law. And here's some of the hashtags that are very popular with our group, thanks to Sheila, Ely in Louisiana, But what we're seeing is we're seeing these type of mandates spread. And right now it's Ohio. So we just know this is going to be the strategy of the pharmaceutical companies. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the problems. And I'm going to share a few stories with you just to kind of give you the big picture of what we're dealing with. I've got a picture of a stealth bomber here, and I call it stealth marketing. Is it the truth or is it deception? And this is what happened. I got notices from 2 schools in the fall of 2011 saying that my children could not register for school unless their vaccines are current. Is that sounding familiar right now with what a lot of you are hearing and going through? Well, this is what happened. I had children in 2 different schools at this time. I was getting weekly phone calls starting in May of one year, referring to the fall of the next year. And I also got a letter from the school nurse with her signature. I did call that school nurse. I was very upset because she did not mention that there were any exemptions, not one mention. When I spoke with her, she said, well, you know, I was told from the state what to say. And I got really upset. I said, you know what? You are our local representative. You serve the families, not the state. And that was kind of the beginning of my experience with this issue. In all the years that my kids were in school, of course, for 15 years, I homeschooled my children. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, let's just go back real quick. One question I wanted to ask you, first of all, I want to say that at this time, I had been a member of the service we're going to talk about right now in this presentation. I had been a member of the service, and I had a full service law firm that I could call about this. So I did. And immediately the attorney told me that I had the right to an exemption, that the school was wrong, and he told me what to do, and that's exactly what I did without any problem. So if you got these letters or these phone calls, which I know some of you are, who are you going to call about this? What are you going to do? Okay, here's another situation. Here's another story. We have California Family versus CPS, and what happened was Child Protective Services removed 2 children based on false charges, and the state had custody for over 10 months. The social worker was very uncooperative. The parents kept calling and trying to find out what they could do to get custody back of their daughters, and they were the social worker was very uncooperative. And I want to say this, a legal issue requires a legal remedy, and the parents learned about Legal Shield, which is what we're going to talk about today, the legal service plans, which gives access to top-rated law firm here in the state of California, and they enrolled immediately. And a specialized attorney got on the phone and handled their case and had CPS's petition dismissed, okay, with voluntary assistance from CPS. And the girls were returned home safely within 1 week. That's the power of having access to legal solutions and having a law firm in your hip pocket anytime something happens to your family. Now, they can't change the law. So as laws change, they will be the first line of defense for you. But this I will say, I don't have any legal stance in this law right now because my youngest is 19 years old. I called the law firm to talk to a civil rights attorney, but I have no legal stance. But you might have legal stance. So members that call that have minor children, I'm very curious what a civil rights attorney would advise you, but that's definitely an option, okay? Here's a mother's story. This is another major problem that's really affecting families, and it is a legal solution. And we provide, it's a legal issue, and we provide a legal solution. So let's listen to this horror story of this mother. Uh-oh. I am not sure what's going on with the sound. This is a problem. I will have to correct it, but I don't think I can correct it right now. So we'll move on to the next slide. I'm going to just go ahead and go to the last slide now because we're going to advance. Okay. Oops, it's not the last slide. There we go. Okay, here we go. Here are the rates for okay. Now, let me just go ahead and escape. And what we're going to do is, let me go to the next slide. I'm going to go ahead and go to this slide and show you how to protect your family today. Just taking a little while to log in, but bear with me. I'm beginning to wonder if anybody saw anything, but it's okay. I'm going to stop right now and see what happened.